Breaking news. Massive oil reserves discovered in Philippine waters. Experts say trillions at stake. Those words, wow, they flashed across TV screens, phones, and radios everywhere. Social media just exploded with hashtags. Families gathered around their living rooms, wide-eyed, as anchors repeated the news again and again. The Philippines, long haunted by energy woes, was suddenly at the center of a petroleum revolution. Out on the streets, jeepney drivers talked about what cheaper fuel could mean for their daily earnings. In offices, executives recalculated market forecasts, while students in cafeterias debated if this could finally lift millions out of poverty. Even in far-flung barangays, fishermen tuned in to battery-powered radios, daring to imagine a better future. For the first time in decades, hope actually outweighed worry. But beneath all that excitement was a much more sober mood. Filipinos knew that big discoveries often came with big challenges. Memories of past disappointments lingered. Could this really be the turning point? The air was thick with anticipation and nervous energy as the nation began to dream and worry at the same time. Government officials called emergency meetings. Business leaders reached out to partners abroad. Ordinary people whispered, "What's next?" In one dramatic moment, the Philippines was united by both possibility and uncertainty. The discoveries came from surveys in the West Philippine Sea and areas off Palawan and Sulu. Scientists confirmed the numbers: billions of barrels of oil and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas. Exploration teams used the latest technology, seismic mapping, deep-sea drilling and remote sensing, to prove what some had only guessed for years. The scale was, honestly, staggering. One report estimated over 5 billion barrels of recoverable oil. Gas reserves could run as high as 30 trillion cubic feet. For a country so used to importing energy, this was like, well, finding a treasure chest in the backyard. The sheer size placed the Philippines among the top oil and gas holders in Southeast Asia. But where exactly are these riches? Some lie in areas free of conflict, well within Philippine territory. Others are found closer to contested parts of the South China Sea, triggering both hope and concern. Geologists and engineers have already started drawing up plans for extraction. Every Filipino began to ask, what does this mean for me? From Manila to Mindanao, the answer was clear. If managed well, these resources could transform the nation's destiny. For generations, the Philippines relied on imported oil, mostly from the Middle East. Tankers sailed in daily to fill the country's needs. Each spike in global prices sent shockwaves through the economy. Ordinary people felt the pain at gas pumps and in electric bills. The country's energy security was fragile, always at the mercy of foreign events. Now, the conversation was changing. Suddenly, there was talk of energy independence. Self-sufficiency no longer seemed like a fantasy. Experts calculated how the new reserves could meet local demand for decades. Imagine, no more panic every time global oil prices soared. People dreamed of lower fuel costs and more stable electricity rates. Businesses saw a future where factories could run without fear of blackouts. The government imagined redirecting billions spent on imports towards health, education, and infrastructure instead. But the dream came with responsibility. Experts warned oil wealth could bring both opportunities and risks. The real question was not just what the Philippines had, but what it would do with it. For many Filipinos, energy poverty is a daily reality. In rural Mindanao, children study by candlelight. In remote islands, small generators run only a few hours each night. Blackouts, called brownouts locally, still haunt entire provinces. For families, it means food spoiling without refrigeration, students sweating through exams and stifling classrooms, and businesses losing precious income. Energy poverty is not just about inconvenience. It holds back dreams. It limits what farmers, teachers, and entrepreneurs can achieve. Without reliable power, progress is painfully slow. Many have long wondered why, in a country surrounded by natural resources, electricity remains a luxury for some. The Malampaya gas field once offered hope, but as it nears depletion, fears rise again. Will the lights go out? Will prices spike? The new oil and gas discoveries could finally change this story, but only if managed well. Filipinos know too well the cost of missed opportunities. The pain of energy poverty is a scar on the nation's pride. The new discoveries bring a chance to heal, to finally light every home and empower every dream. Across the sea, neighbors turned oil into national wealth. Malaysia, once struggling, now boasts modern cities, vast infrastructure, and a world-class oil company, Petronas. Brunei, tiny in size, enjoys high incomes thanks to its petroleum riches. Even Kuwait, in the distant Middle East rebuilt itself from the ashes of war using oil funds. Their stories share common threads. Oil wealth, if managed well, transforms lives. It builds schools, hospitals, highways, and industries. It lifts millions from poverty. But these countries also offer warnings. Oil can bring corruption, waste, and environmental harm if not carefully handled. Filipinos looked abroad with new eyes. Could the Philippines follow this path, or would it repeat the mistakes of others? The potential was there, but so were the pitfalls. The success of neighbors was both inspiring and humbling. Oil could be a blessing or a curse. The choice, as always, would depend on the nation's unity, discipline, and vision. Imagine for a moment a Philippines where fuel prices are low and stable, where every home, big or small, has reliable power. Picture a country where the government invests in free education and, honestly, world-class healthcare for everyone. Oil revenues could pay for new highways, faster trains, and cities that are built to withstand disasters. It could mean more jobs, higher incomes, and, a stronger peso. Economists drew up some pretty bold forecasts. Trillions of pesos in new income could flood the economy. The government could cut its debt and invest in local industries. The dream was no longer just about oil, it was about building a future where every Filipino could truly thrive. Small businesses could flourish with cheap energy, farmers could process more crops, fisherfolk could keep their catch fresh and safe, young people could stay in the Philippines, finding opportunity right at home instead of having to go abroad. But unlocking this promise would require wise decisions. Oil wealth could change everything, or honestly, nothing at all. The window of opportunity is real, but it won't stay open forever. The road ahead is, well, not easy. The South China Sea, where some of the richest reserves lie, is at the very heart of a fierce dispute with China. Tensions have already led to standoffs, blockades, and international protests. Oil companies hesitate to invest in such risky waters. And, at home, politics can slow progress too. Competing interests, corruption, and short-term thinking have doomed big projects before. Some people fear a resource curse, where sudden wealth leads to waste and even greater poverty. Others worry about environmental damage to fragile seas and coastlines. Investors want clear rules and strong leadership. The world is watching. Any misstep could mean losing the chance to capitalize on this gift. Filipinos know they must unite, or risk losing everything to conflict and greed. The stakes are higher than ever. The challenge is not just technical, but political, legal, and moral. The nation must face these storms with courage and wisdom. Not all the oil and gas lie in disputed areas. Large reserves exist in waters that are, without a doubt, under Philippine control. Experts urge the government to focus here first, develop these fields, attract investors with transparent rules, build pipelines and refineries to process oil locally. The Philippines can learn from other countries' mistakes and successes, set up a sovereign wealth fund, like Norway or Malaysia, to save and invest oil profits for the future, use revenues to develop renewable energy, making sure there's a sustainable transition when oil runs out. Training a new generation of Filipino engineers, scientists, and managers is vital. Local communities must benefit first. Environmental safeguards must be strong. The world is changing fast. Those who act quickly and wisely will win. These steps are not easy, but hey, they are possible. The nation must move with urgency and unity, turning hope into action before the opportunity slips away. The discoveries are real, the potential is honestly vast, but time is short. Malampaya is running dry. Global competition for energy is fierce. If the Philippines delays, others will move ahead. If leaders fail, the dream will fade. Now is the moment to act, to build strong institutions, to demand honesty and vision from leaders, to make smart investments, to protect the nation's interests, at home and abroad. The choice is clear. Seize the opportunity or lose it forever. The future's in the hands of every Filipino, leaders, workers, students, and families. The world is watching. The next chapter in the nation's story is waiting to be written. It is time to decide. Will the Philippines rise on the tide of hidden trillions beneath the sea? Or will this chance slip once again into the depths of history?